One of the biggest myths that's out there is that by legalizing marijuana, that it would eliminate the black market.
We've been fortunate in that we haven't had to call on law enforcement for robberies or anything of that nature, but our relationship with the Sheriff's Department itself, they have been very easy to work with. They are, we butt heads occasionally over something, but they're working under very difficult circumstances because the ordinance is not particularly clear in some areas, and they are doing a great job trying to interpret that and try to work with us and just find a way to make it all function.
We want to make sure things stay at the small issue level and don't grow to large issues. If you don't regulate it to some degree, we've already seen some types of violent crime that is associated with it, and that will grow, and innocent people will be impacted by that. So, and that is something that is our responsibility that we take very seriously.
We don't have, a lot of the things that other businesses take for granted are a big problem in our space. You know, if we're taking in large amounts of cash, where do you put those? Where do you put those? How do you move them around? How do you keep people safe? Frankly, the fact that that poor guy got beat up, this is the government's fault, plain and simple. You know, we can't get a bank because everyone's afraid of the government. I'll blame the banks a little bit. They're being a little wimpy about this. I mean, that guy got beat up because there was no place to put they couldn't use a traditional method to take in payment.
You know, when you're dealing with an industry that carries large quantities of cash or a high value product, you know, we want to make sure that we are understanding exactly the types of crime groups that are associated with it, exactly the types of crimes that are coming from these types of establishments, so that we can you know, effectively address them and adapt as an organization to them.
There is definitely still, for a lot of players, an us versus them mentality when it comes to the government in general, but law enforcement, you know, sometimes in particular. Now, that being said, there are unlicensed players and licensed players in the industry. Most of the licensed players I know, even the ones that were in the industry previously and weren't operating under any kind of rules, or very few, most of them are making the transition and saying, hey, if our place gets robbed, we're licensed, we're legitimate, we're picking up the phone and calling law enforcement. And a lot of the ones I know have a very good relationship with law enforcement.